Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. With E3 behind us, it's time to chill and to talk about more specific things that came out of the show. So I thought for today it would be fun to do a roundup of all of the known exotics coming to Destiny 2. They have decided to reveal a surprising number of them, which I don't necessarily believe is a good thing, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited to see them. Especially since one of those looks to be of a brand new weapon class called the Linear Fusion Rifle, and of course we'll touch on that too in this video. Also stick around till the end of the video for my announcement of the winners of the Destiny 2 beta code giveaway. The amount of support and participation was absolutely incredible, so I couldn't help myself and increase the number of codes I'm giving away to a total of 5. That's right, your chances of winning just went up. So with that, let's get right into it. In the June episode of the Bungie podcast, game director Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy were talking about how they were hesitant to show us too many of the exotics because they want to keep them for surprises. I have to say I definitely missed that sense of discovery from year 1 when you would get an exotic drop and have no idea what the heck it even is. Believe it or not, my first exotic was the Gjallarhorn, and I got it from the first Nightfall I completed with my brother, and I believe he got the Skull of Dire Ahamkara. Needless to say, we were both super excited, of course, with them being our first exotics, but I honestly had no idea that I had one of the most infamous weapons in modern gaming. In fact, I'm pretty sure it lived in my vault for a long time, because during vanilla, I preferred machine guns over rocket launchers. I know, those were some very innocent times. But anyways, I'm very much looking forward to that feeling again. Luke Smith mentioned that he wants to show us 3 of the exotics and that's it. Enough to show us that they exist and that they still look and behave just as awesome, but still preserve that sense of surprise and discovery we all miss. But alas, it seems they can't resist the temptation to show us even more. As of right now, we know of 6 exotics confirmed to come to Destiny 2. There might be some quick shots here and there of weapons that might look exotic, and those are definitely conversations for a different day, but for the purposes of this video, I want to stick to those that are definitely confirmed as exotic weapons. So as of right now, there are 6, and I'm sure we'll learn of more before the game is released. I'm okay with that as long as the vast majority of them remain a mystery until discovered. Anyways, the first exotic we know of is Sweet Business. This of course is that Suros Gatling gun we've seen in all of the reveal footage, and while it looks like it might be classified as a machine gun, it is in fact classified as a kinetic auto rifle. Besides the weapon's monstrous look, the damage seems to be on point with a high rate of fire auto rifle, and the time to kill also seems to match up. From the footage we've seen, it does definitely look a lot more stable and accurate than your typical auto rifle, but then again, it's an exotic. And if we look at the exotic perks here on the weapon's tooltip, the perks read Payday, Large Mag, Increase Hipfire Accuracy. This is in line with a high rate of fire Gatling gun that might have a larger supply of bullets. So it will definitely play the way it looks. This is most likely the intrinsic perk of the weapon, and then the exotic perk is holding down the trigger boosts this weapon's range and rate of fire. It automatically loads ammo pickups into the magazine. So this weapon is definitely meant to be the front liner and is designed to give you just an infinite supply of ammo so you can hold down the fort. It definitely sounds like it's going to be a lot more useful with larger crowds of enemies and PvE activities, but from the Crucible footage we've seen, it's not too bad there either. As I mentioned before, the weapon is slotted in your kinetic weapon slot, meaning that there is no elemental damage. Luke Smith did confirm that while the weapon classes are the same for kinetic and energy, meaning that you can have different hand cannons in both slots, it does not mean that they share the same pool of specific guns. So for instance, the Better Devil's hand cannon we see here is only ever going to be kinetic. Now of course there may be a very similar gun with similar stats for the energy slot, but of course that would mean it would have a different name and a different design. The next exotic we've seen in action is the Dubious Volley. The weapon is classified as a rocket launcher and will most likely be arc element. This was of course the weapon that was famously planned to release in Destiny 1, but sadly never made it because it couldn't be balanced right. Or at least that was the rumor. And as you can tell from this footage, I can see why it might pose a unique challenge. Luckily, because it was in the armory for a while, we actually know the weapon's perks, assuming they aren't changed from the Destiny 1 version. In fact, that brings up a small tangential topic about the fact that we haven't yet seen the upgrade screen for any of the weapons. With what looks like a simplification of the weapon perks from these tooltips, I put together this Photoshop of what I think the weapon's upgrade screen may look like. I posted this on Twitter a few weeks ago and I made it to illustrate my thoughts a bit more. I talked about the possibility of weapon simplification in my weapons analysis video off the heels of the Destiny 2 reveal event, so click over to that video to learn more. But yeah, this is an example of a legendary weapon. For exotics, you can expect the intrinsic perk to perhaps be before the first column again. But anyways, to quickly recap the Dubious Volley perks, they are Dubious Ordnance. This weapon delivers a high energy volley of explosive ordnance. And then we have Dubious Munitions. Kills from the volley add another round to the volley. And basically what I think that will look like is, of course, you can see this weapon shooting a 2-second stream of rockets. If any of those first few rockets do end up killing enemies, it will essentially just add more rockets to the end of that stream. Next we have Sunshot. This is a solar exotic hand cannon. It is described as having some really interesting perks. The first intrinsic perk is Sunburn, which has explosive rounds and highlights targets. The exotic perk is targets killed with Sunshot explode in solar energy. So not unlike the Icebreaker, very interesting. Also, the second perk was described by Mark Noseworthy as having a potential to chain across multiple targets, like even 4 or 5. He made it sound like it would kill them as well, not just damage them like the Zalo does now. My guess is that it will kill things like Dregs and Thralls, but maybe just take the shield off of a Guardian in the Crucible. Either way, if this weapon ends up being as powerful as it sounds, it will be very difficult to strip it away from my energy slot. The next weapon we've seen but not heard too much about is the exotic submachine gun Riskrunner. It is an arc submachine gun with some very interesting perks. Taking a look at the weapon's tooltip, the perks are as follows. The intrinsic perk is Arc Conductor. Taking arc damage increases weapon power. The exotic perk reads, when Arc Conductor is active, shots fired will have a chance to become chain lightning and return ammo. So this is definitely one of the more interesting exotic weapons. It's sort of inviting you to take damage from the enemy, and it actually reminds me of a perk that is in the Arc Strider subclass for Way of the Wind that also is active when you have low health. So this is just one example of what Mark Noseworthy was referring to when he said that there would be a lot of really interplay between weapons and subclasses. So it looks like we're going to be able to achieve some pretty devastating combos here. This has also been described by those who got a chance to play with it as having the potential to have near infinite ammo if you are continuously under fire, so maybe there's some clever way to combine it with Healing Rift and create sort of like another Touch of Malice Blessing of Light type situation, but I just hope that Bungie has in fact playtested all of these to make sure that they don't break the game. Let's just hope. The next weapon we got a glimpse of is called Coldheart. A replica of the gun was showed off by Bungie CEO Pete Parsons during an onstage appearance with WWE superstar Big Show. Sadly, absolutely nothing is known about this weapon, other than it may be arc from the color of the weapon itself. It does look like a fusion rifle, but I think it may in fact be the first exotic from the brand new class of linear fusion rifles. This is a brand new class of weapons for Destiny 2, and it behaves the same as fusion rifles. It requires a charge up before firing a burst, except in this case, instead of shooting a scattered cone of energy, it will shoot a single focused beam, just like the Queenbreaker's bow and this Sleeper Simulant. This gets me very excited as those guns are not only super fun to wield, but can be very devastating. And of course, with it being a brand new class of weapons, I assume you can expect to find uncommon and rare linear fusion rifles as well, but of course we will have to wait and see. Finally, the last exotic weapon we know of is called Borealis. This of course is the PlayStation exclusive exotic sniper rifle. I went over this in a previous video, but one aspect that was not known at the time is the fact that the weapon can actually cycle between all 3 elements. It is unclear how it cycles between them. Many believe it's like Murmur, where you can choose the element in the upgrade screen. However, if you watch carefully, you can see the colors change by simply reloading the weapon. So maybe it just cycles every time you reload, or maybe perhaps just press the reload button even though your magazine is full. That would be pretty cool. Maybe you have to shoot a shield first and then it changes to the same element when you reload. It's still all a bit unclear, but you can see in the scope overlay that it does show you which element is currently active. This weapon is definitely kind of cool, but it's gonna be competing in my power slot for things like rocket launchers and grenade launchers. The one thing, sort of like a side effect that I'm getting from the power slots, is a really cool thing where you can actually kind of specialize different parts of your squad. So one person can be the sniper, the other person can be demolitions, and then of course you could have the run and gunner with DPS up close with a shotgun. It's really cool to think of it in that way, and that's not really a dynamic that's existed in Destiny, so it'll be really interesting to see how that plays into more PvE content like raids and strikes. Anyways, that brings us to the end of the video. Now let's dive into the beta code giveaway. So here are the winners. First we have Xgeno, next is Ms. Creative, next is Combos, and then we have MC Maddie, and then finally we have Ghost59 Abel. So for the winners, I will be reaching out to you via YouTube message very soon to give you your codes. MC Maddie, I will be giving yours through Twitch DM. I know you follow me there, and that's the only way I could find to message you. But anyways, I'm sorry if you didn't win. I wish I could give all of you beta codes, I really do. I don't do too many giveaways, but of course the main giveaway for the channel will be taking place later in the summer, and it is of course for a limited edition copy of Destiny 2. This is the GameStop exclusive that contains the golden case and of course the season pass, the whole breakdown you see here on the screen in front of you. I have one copy for PS4 to give away and one for Xbox One. I'll share the details on how you can win that in the coming months, so be sure to stick around here until then. I may also have some runner-up prizes as well, so we'll see. Anyways, let me know which of these exotics you're most excited about, share your thoughts in the comments below, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more Destiny content. And I will see you all next time. So, the idea of Flashpoint is to further the purpose and value of patrols. Luke and his team has expressed that they aim to make patrols something that invites you back again and again. In Destiny 1, we pretty much were limited to mission beacons and public events. It's where I would go often to complete bounties, but that was pretty much it.